You're on.
We're on. Hi, Malcolm.
Hi.
So we kind of
Good
have
afternoon.
mixed greens, I think is a good name to call this today. So we're I'm in snowy New York and you're in, how is it there in LA right now?
It's about in mid 60s with bright sunshine.
Can I
And
give you the finger now?
well, the big thing that we've had well, it's not the big thing, but the last few days it's been windy. Yeah,
Yeah,
windy
that
like about 15 to 20 miles per hour.
wow. Well,
And
we've been getting some crazy weather with wind too. I just trying to adjust the sound a little here. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. But in light of that, I kind of found a, this is trying to take it down. I found a poem. Okay.
as usual.
You know me, I like poems, and of course I'm crazy about Amanda Gorman now. She just blew me away. Uh so maybe we can get her on the show. You think?
We can always try.
I'm trying. I'm gonna try. But anyway, this I got from the kidspoetryclub.com, and it doesn't have an author, so it's called Fresh Snowfall
By a nun,
by Anon, I guess. I
but
don't know
not
who wrote it.
QAnon.
Not no, thank God. Well, we'll talk about something about that later. uh so Fresh Snowfall. I awoke to a scene reimagined as white, a crisp, clean sheet pulled over it tight and patterned with the placing of hundreds of feet tucked in at the corners and patted down neat, glistening like diamonds in the dawn's early sun, a testament to perfection until the moment I come to ruin this world. Feels so unjust, but with a sled in one hand, ruin it I must. I remember sledding down what we called Suicide Hill into the exit of the Belt Parkway on Shore Parkway. And we would literally, our parents would never know we were there. And if you didn't like watch what you were doing, you could have been splattered. Cars were coming off the exit.
And you survived.
Somehow, we survived as kids without all this stuff that, we didn't go out padded, with everything. We just kind of went out and got banged up and came back and went, oh, my hand. And then your mom would put mercurochrome. Remember that? Oh, my.
Mercurochrome.
Oh, man, it would burn like hell. But anyway,
And
so
I remember, as you know, I'm from New York. When it's
really?
you can't tell when I'm talking, right? Uh,
Uh,
when I used to love the snow, and when you wake up in the morning and you go outside and you are the first prints, you're the first footprints in the snow.
right.
And I remember there was a deserted lot behind my apartment house, and I used to go there and make believe I'm an explorer.
Mm,
And you know something? I still do that. I lived off of Central Park West, and every time it, snowed, I'd be the first one out in the park to put my footprints there.
like a little kid.
Yeah, I don't think you ever outgrow that.
No.
It's like when you go to the beach, and and the tide comes in and takes all the footprints away, and then you put your footprints in there.
Right.
You feel like you're
Yeah.
Robinson Crusoe.
The snow is, there's just something magical about it actually, and it just I mean, I went out today with Sparkles, who's actually laying down next to me. She probably won't get up because she all she wanted to do was prance. She was prancing literally in the snow, and we were the first footprints down my block. There was nothing else, and so Sparkles' footprints and mine were in there. I don't know for how long, but
You
uh,
should take a picture of it and then email it to me,
I will.
text it to me.
I'll get a picture. But it seems like the entire country is in snow and ice. It's engulfed the entire country. I mean,
Except from
and
California.
that's true. But you had snow in like where Big Bear is,
Oh yeah,
that
we have
area
snow up in the mountains, but
in the
that's not.
mountains. So, but they got a lot of snow. I was told. I read. So, like the skiers must be happy.
Yeah, but that's not unusual.
Right. But at this point, you got a little cold weather that you were complaining, I remember, and some and some wind that when I spoke to you on the phone, I was hearing like crazy wind. And this is, the weather's gotten wilder, and it's not just because it's just the weather, it's the climate. And people kind of don't know the difference. And it's just, so part of it is like, so we have the snow, and we need to figure out what's happening. And so climate change is real. It's not a thing you can deny. Even though there's so many deniers, and considering what's going on now, I don't know how there could be deniers. But it occurs as Earth's oceans grow warmer and they evaporate more moisture into the atmosphere, about 4% more since 1970. That's according to some recent data. But these two factors, rising temperatures and increased moisture in the atmosphere, make the chances for extreme weather far greater. So stuff's happening, dudes.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
stuff's happening, and we need to figure out how we're going to resolve this problem, because look what's going on, right now in Texas for sure. It's nuts. But so it's because, um, and even though it's sort of counterintuitive, the increase in snowfall in the winter, because everyone goes, it's global warming. I'm gonna remember the senator who or congressman who threw a snowball at, at the other congressman and said, "There's no global warming here. I got a snowball." I don't know if it was Inhofe. I don't know who it was, but when the temperature, it's linked to climate change because there's more moisture, as I said, warmer atmosphere. And when the temperatures are below freezing, the snowfall can break records. And scientists are studying that connection between the Arctic warming and cold spells in the US. It's not just the East, it's not just here in New York. It's across the entire country, except for like where you are in Southern California and Southern Florida. Those are like the two areas. 73% of the US is covered in snow now.
Well,
That's a lot, man. So I'm going to quote Tom Waits. We spoke about him
yeah.
before. We both like him a lot. And one of my favorite quotes is, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me. Oh, excuse me. I'd rather have a free bottle in front of me than a prefrontal lobotomy. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to refer to Texas. There's a deep freeze, there's snow, power outages. I think clearly the governor had a lobotomy. He's blaming the power grid collapse on renewable energy and the Green New Deal. First off, Texas is 80% of its electricity is from fossil fuels and coal, gas, and oil, and 20% renewables is wind. But he blames it on the Green New Deal, and the Green New Deal is a resolution. It's not even any legislation. Hasn't been enacted yet. And the wind turbines he's complaining about, they're actually a lot of them are really still working, whereas the gas that's coming through and the equipment that they've used can't take the cold because they never put that factor in. So, and they're on their own grid in Texas
Yeah,
because, yeah, they're
well,
on their own.
that's ridiculous. I was just hearing something where the board of the grid, I think there are 5 members, right? None of them
Mhm.
live in Texas.
Well, sounds about right. Yeah.
They're all outside. And as Texas, they want to be independent, so they don't. They have their own grid, which they get all of their
The
electricity
only
power from,
state,
and they're not involved with the federal regulations.
but they want federal help now.
Of course,
So,
but
uh,
who believes in socialism?
I mean, that the fact that they don't have a plan B if they lose power on the grid and they should be hooked up to a neighboring state, but no, they don't want to have any part of it. And they've just not taken care of the equipment. And that's true for like anything. Like here in New York, the same thing. They're better well adjusted. And if something goes down, we can get power from another state from the grid, but not in Texas,
No, they can't.
so
They're,
it's
they're,
it's
they're totally independent because they're Texans. They don't want anything to do with the federal government.
well,
They want they want to be
right, they want, let them
independent.
succeed. Well, I think the Alamo is was snowed in, and also the Acropolis in Greece is snowed in. So think of this: the Alamo and the
Yeah.
Acropolis, which is a rarity for both of them to be, are both snowed in. And if that's not wacky, again, nothing is.
Well, the thing is, what you were talking about, you were giving examples of only things in the U.S. that was gone crazy. All over the world,
Hmm.
the weather has changed. It's not
Right,
only here. I think in Venice, uh, they have to start building more dams because it's being flooded.
right,
The canals are flooding the streets, and they said in
right.
so many years, there's not going to be a Venice to go to.
That's true. I mean, I'm lucky I got there, but
Or I've never been there. Or I know, like in the south, I don't know, at the South Pole or North Pole, where all the ice floats are melting,
yes, the Arctic is melting, and the polar bears are not happy
and polar
either.
bear ain't got no place to go.
They had, they showed pictures of polar bears literally floating on ice, like a separate sheet of ice that's, and it just kills you. I mean, it just, like, why? Because man just is the supreme being, you know, that we just have superiority over everything, and look what we're doing with it. So, I mean, as I keep saying, and I use Mitch's quote, nothing makes sense and plenty of
Yeah.
it. Nothing makes sense and plenty of it. It
Well,
just,
that's what this show was about. Nothing
yep,
makes sense.
that's right.
The
Nothing.
senselessness.
It's pervasive in society right now. We have so much that we're dealing with, yet it doesn't. Logic just goes away. Like, why won't you, what? Go ahead.
No, it's just, well, we do have logic, and there's a rhyme and reason to things. As we're talking now, which is the day is, I think what's today, the 18th?
18th.
The
Yeah.
18th. Half hour after our show, after we tape the show, do you call it taping if we're zooming it?
Well, yeah, you're taping the recording, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. After we tape the show, we're going to be landing a spacecraft on Mars.
Right. I know. I can't. It's supposed to be on. I hope they show good footage of it. It's pretty wild to think about it.
Yeah, and I think there are three different countries that are going to be landing.
So on the same time, yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool
I
to
know
think
China,
about
and I
it.
don't know who else.
I don't remember.
Japan.
It might be. It could be. But I'm not sure. I
But
don't
but
have the stats in front of me. I mean,
but
I
you
could
see,
look.
we're making plans right now. As soon as
Mhm.
Earth becomes uninhabitable, we're all going to
Well,
make
that's
a mass exodus to the Mars. It's like Superman.
what Stephen Hawking said. That we're going to have to get out. We're going to have to
Yeah.
leave because it's not going to be inhabitable, and that's because we're not doing what's already available to do. And if we did what's already available to do, this wouldn't be happening. But it's, you know, again, I'll quote Mitch. It's the collective will.
Yeah.
We need collective will. I mean, individuals doing things adds up. Don't get me wrong, but there needs to be everyone thinking the same way
Oh,
that
yeah.
we have to
Well, I
do.
was talking when I was talking to my friend Deborah that we have another show. Conversations with Deborah, who's more to the very to the right of me, and we were talking about what were we talking about? I know I'm forgetting
I
my
don't know.
thought.
It's okay. Whoops. I don't know.
Actually, we're talking about if there's a God,
Yeah.
is there a God for all the planets?
Well, it
I mean, if
depends
we
if
go,
it's.
it's the same God that's on Mars and Saturn and Mercury.
I don't know.
If
To
we
me,
move,
I'm more on the spiritual end of things. So if there is any being or any consciousness, I would think it's universal. So
well, no,
yeah,
no, the universe meaning all planets, right,
correct,
and
correct,
all stars.
right.
So what's
We're
the big deal? It's
we're from dust. I mean, if you look at
speak
quantum entanglement.
speak for yourself.
No, well, we come from dust, and that's why we have moments of quantum entanglement with each other. And it's not just per chance sometimes. Sometimes there's an actual connection, and it's a physics thing. So I mean, we could do a whole show on quantum entanglement.
Well, what I find,
We're
or
such geniuses. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
I don't understand. As I said, I think I had mentioned some of the previous shows that I was into all sorts of, the mysticism, the Eastern religions, but the fact
right,
that our bodies are not one solid mass. It's a bunch of atoms or whatever that are constantly, floating around.
right.
So,
Well, that's
so
what quantum entanglement is, the connection of those atoms.
yeah, so it's possible that we could walk through walls if we knew how to work with our molecules to coincide with the molecules of the wall. It's
Well,
like
there's
Scotty, beam me up.
right, exactly. I was going to say it's like on Star Trek, but they actually are doing experiments like that now. I mean, there's stuff going on that we have no clue what's going on in the science world, what they're up to. I don't know. I hope we get to a place in time where we can understand what they're doing and that it benefits society, not just a little experiment they're doing for, fun.
Yeah, my
But
big question is, why did the Dodgers move?
I don't know.
Because I see in your background was the New York Mets.
Yeah.
The hat.
Yep. That's my son's a Met fan. He started as a Yankee fan, but he changed. I'm the Met fan in the family, and my son is now a major Met fan. And it's hard to be a Mets fan. It just is.
You,
You have to have a personality of like we're gonna lose and whatever.
or you think that's bad? I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan. When the Mets
Right.
came in, I became a Met fan.
Right.
First year, I think they lost 104 games.
It's something like that with
And,
Casey Stengel.
yeah, Casey Stengel, they used to show Casey Stengel in the dugout asleep by this fourth inning. I mean, he was like in his 80s.
Mr. Met, the mascot, there used to be a picture of him with the mascot with an umbrella, and the caption was, "Because it's raining, we can't lose today."
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite things. That was hysterical. But climate change affects a lot of things, and so certain things it might be affecting that people are not going to like right now. And I'm just going to read a quick lyric from the song is called Beers and Sunshine by
Yeah.
Darius Rucker.
Right. I got that from you. That was
Right.
what's going to change people's minds if we can't have beer. Anyway, continue.
Right. So anyway, so this is the lyric, and it says, "Don't owe nothing to the lender, nothing spinning in the blender. The only thing on my agenda is beers and sunshine, bonfires in summertime." And boy, is that on my mind right now. So for you beer drinkers out there, you soon might not be able to cry in your beer or have that bud with your buddy. A 2018 study suggests there will be a dramatic decreases in beer supply and increasing beer prices due to extreme drought and heat brought on by climate change in the coming decades. So people who are drinking beer, climate change is threatening three key ingredients needed to make beer: water, barley, and hops. So some breweries have encountered shortages of water, barley crops have been damaged by heavy rain, and hops have been plagued by drought. So, I mean, this is a big problem. And if you're a beer person, you're going to think twice and now wonder how much your beer is costing because of all of this. And so there are effects of climate change that people don't really think about.
Well, I think this is what is going to motivate the right wing, to
You
do
think?
something about the climate change. Is the lack of beer.
Okay,
You
so the
have to
what?
you have to hit them close to home.
Right. So the beer might be a place that will hit their hearts, like if they're spending, for a six pack, $15. I don't think they're gonna like that. Although I don't know if how much cigarette smoking reduced with increase in price. This people still smoke,
Yeah,
even though
talking about ridiculousness.
yeah, well,
I mean, how much is a pack of cigarettes now?
a lot.
A
I
lot.
I, I
I think
don't
it's like
draw.
$5 or $6 a pack.
Well, think of also this: the CDC in a lot of states will give you the COVID-19 vaccine if you're a smoker. That's on the list
Mm.
of things. If
Really?
you're a
Wow.
smoker, And the first time I heard about it was my friend in Jersey. She told me, she goes, people who are smoking can get uh can get the shot. But me with an underlying condition, I can't get the shot. Now I don't smoke. Why should they be ahead on the line if they're doing something that's hazardous to their health? And they're endangering me now because now I can't get the shot. And
Well,
I don't understand. And then I saw it on the CDC list. I'm like, who's paying them? The tobacco industry? I mean, I don't know
no,
how that is even a thing. And how do you even prove it? You just attest that you smoke cigarettes, you
no,
know?
I remember I used to smoke. I smoked from the ages of about 16 to about 28 before I quit. You look at someone's hands. Do you
You
ever
could
see a
see.
smoker's hands? They're
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's
I mean,
pretty
literally,
bad.
they're yellow.
Yep, I know.
So you can prove that you smoke. Show me your hands.
It doesn't, it just literally, again, something that doesn't make sense to me.
And do they put people who are overweight? Are they on the list?
I I'm not sure if obesity is on the list. It might be. I don't know if that was
Because
obese.
obesity is one of the major causes of illnesses of death.
Right.
They say.
That's another problem that we have to deal with, but that's a whole other thing. But I think it might be on the list. I
Wow.
do. Uh, but anyway, so now the poor people who, everyone who's drinking beer from, it doesn't matter who you are. A lot of people drink beer from all walks. So now you're going to have to think about it. Think about what you're doing and think about what climate change might have effect on. But now even more, and we're talking, I don't know if it's a different group of people, but what will we do if we can't get our Starbucks fix? People will be walking around with the jitters, right? And fighting over their short supply of the new nitro cold brew with sweet cream. It's globally, we can lose up to 50% of land suitable for growing coffee by 2050.
Wow.
That's like a big deal. And most coffee comes from the Arabica coffee tree, which thrives on cool mountain slopes. So as the temperatures rise in coffee growing regions, the coffee growers are just going farther up the mountains to find cool air. But that's kind of just like a short term fix. Ethiopia, a top Arabica producer, could lose up to 59% of its coffee growing area to climate change by the end of the century. So between coffee and beer, I don't know. Two things that are favorites in this country, uh, they're going to have problems and they're going to see rising prices. And I don't know what they're going to do. The people.
Well, if there's no coffee, especially coffee, I don't know
Hmm.
if I want to be a driver on the road.
Right.
Can
I
you
don't.
imagine the people with the nervous condition if they can't have their coffee in the morning?
I don't know. Yeah, it's like the jitters, man. You get the jitters if I don't know what I do without my coffee. And don't put me on the road. No, I won't be able to do it in the road because I won't be on the road. So it's
Well,
okay.
actually, the truth is, this is why they're doing the electric cars.
Yeah,
Not the self
the
the
self-driving cars.
self-driving cars.
They know about the
They know about the
probable.
coffee, right? The
Right,
coffee and the
exactly.
beer.
The coffee and the beer. So they figured, hey, if you're gonna get drunk and you can't drink coffee, just go in your car. It'll drive
Right,
itself.
right.
Yeah,
And
I didn't.
let's legal. Well, they legalized the marijuana.
Yeah, well, it's not in New York yet.
Yeah, how come New York does not have legalized marijuana? It's
I
amazing.
I don't I don't know. They're gonna push for it because I know they need money, and they will get a lot of money if they go with legalizing it. I mean, so to me, I think they're just gonna use it to raise cash. It's all about the money, you know.
Definitely. But
So,
I mean, but
but
I believe in legalized drugs. So
so do I actually. I think
actually,
if
all
you can,
drugs, I think it should be controlled, but legalized.
yeah, I know there was a Judge Sweet in New York, a federal judge. He was a big proponent of that, and that was years ago. And they all would like, "What the hell is wrong with you? You're a federal judge, and you're saying this." And he goes, "You don't understand it. It has to be that way because right now, what we're seeing come through the courts, a lot of it, they need to have rehab. They need to, you know, go through a system that's not going to throw them in jail because they have a problem, But so far." they have to reform a lot of things, and prison and drugs are two things that they have to reach out to.
Well, that's one of the inequities of our prison system due to drugs, is because
Yeah.
you catch a poor minority with some marijuana, they can go to
Hmm.
jail.
Yeah, they
If,
do, and they have.
if it's a rich person who can afford an attorney, either they are acquitted or they have a rehab program and they don't have any record.
Right. Well, again, the inequality is another major issue, and that's a whole other show, to tell you the truth, or a lot of shows, or a lot of years, that because that is a big, big problem too. But so we're talking about different climate change effects, and one of them is where you are, and that's fires. There's been lots of fires, and so I just recently saw that this congresswoman who's been in the news, Marjorie Taylor Greene, suggested over 2 years ago in a Facebook post that wildfires in California were not natural. Forests don't just catch fire. Rather, the blazes had been started by PG&E in conjunction with the Rothschilds using a space laser in order to clear room for a high-speed rail project. So lasers created by Israelis, um, that's what's starting the fires because they're in cahoots with the Rothschilds, the Rothschilds, and I'm like, I don't know
And
what to.
I think Soros also was part of that.
Of course,
It was the Jewish cabal that was
right. That day we started the fires.
right.
But Billy Joel said we didn't start the fire. Um,
If you believe Billy Joel.
I don't know. I like Billy Joel. Anyway, but here's the truth um,
And
about the
the
fire.
truth.
Well, here's some truth. If you can, fires and beetles, and not Paul or Ringo, are destroying forests. Um, Climate change is leading to deforestation as poor land management, really bad land management in California, that's for sure, and building expensive homes like in Malibu on fire lines. I mean, that doesn't help anything. Why would you do that? Again, it's follow the money. So dry, warm, and windy days more than doubled since 1980, adding to the problem. And over 4 million acres of forest burned in California in the last year and a half. And in 2019, electric wires sparked fires via transmission lines. All of this was exacerbated by drought and heat in the famous Camp Fire, which destroyed the town of Paradise, and it killed dozens of people. It was really bad, and the electric companies aren't maintaining their equipment, and it's leading to disastrous consequences. And the same holds true here in the East Coast. Like, you know, they're not keeping up with getting, if they need to cut branches that are going over wires. We're still on wires. We're still
Yeah,
getting electricity through wires. It's like 100+ years of that. Something's wrong.
well, that was my question. I know, like on phone lines and things, you have the fiber optics, which they're building into the ground, underground. Can't they do that with the electricity?
Again, money. It costs billions to bury wires. So
But
I mean,
but
I don't, it doesn't make sense because they're spending billions in insurance because of all the
right,
disasters.
and
So,
lives.
and lives being lost and people, being put out. I mean, I was without power for 2 weeks. Hurricane Sandy hit, and with my mom who was like in her 90s, and my brothers were here from LA. That was quite a trip. It was no one was able to handle that too well, and we finally had to get out of the house, and we couldn't because there was wires blocking my road, and they wouldn't let us out. They would not let us go over the wires because Con Ed wasn't there to cut the trees and get the wires safe for weeks. So we finally were able to go out by going on our neighbor's property and going around
Wow.
and going. It was pretty nuts, and It was just crazy. That whole story was just nuts. But at this point, if they don't reduce greenhouse gases, forests in Northern California, Oregon, and Washington could experience an increase of more than 78% in area burned. Could you imagine 78% of forests burned by 2050? Uh, Not good.
Well, if the forest doesn't burn, they'll be
Mm,
chopping down the trees in the
yeah.
Amazon, which give
Oh, yeah.
a huge
Yeah.
amount of our oxygen.
Correct. And also in Canada too,
Mm.
where they want to have the Keystone pipeline stuff. That's a whole other ball game.
That's
So
something we could spend the next 20 years talking about the craziness of the world
yeah,
in our show.
20
We
years. I think it's a lifetime at this point. I mean, there's nothing that's not, you know, people just want to get through their day. That we have the pandemic now. We have so many things going on that are making it difficult, and we don't know if
Hmm.
they'll ever be normal from the way before. And so right now people are just like literally trying to get through a day, especially if you have children, and especially if you're working out of your house and you're having teaching your kids. You and I are lucky we're kind of through that. But I know, a lot of young families in my area, and they're going
Yeah.
wacky trying to get their kids to do the remote learning, trying to get, remoting from their offices, and by the time the day is over, they're just exhausted. So until we get this under control, I don't know where we're all headed at this point. But you know
But
it's just too
under that optimistic note, do you realize that we have spent a half hour talking about,
there's
the craziness of the world?
yeah, there is a lot of craziness. And at this point, there's just, people have to try to like breathe a bit, take a little moment to like go out. Like, you go take walks every day, I go out take walks every day. I mean, I took pictures of the snow this morning because it was just beautiful to watch. And so it's like you got to go for these moments, right? Otherwise you'll go crazy.
Well, that's the thing which people don't do, and I realize as the older I get, people don't look, they don't see what's around them, they don't observe,
Right.
because they're more or less, they're in their own world, they're in their own mind, they're in their own with the cell phone, and they
Yeah.
don't see what's around them, they don't see the trees, they don't see the other people.
Right.
It's like I know, like a big thing people complain about is I don't remember names of people that I'm introduced to.
Hmm.
Why? Because they don't listen.
Right. There's a big thing about listening. People get distracted very quickly. And right now, the attention span has lowered and lowered and lowered over the years. People used to have longer attention spans. Now it's like if you're on your phone, you're on this, you're on that. Everything is instant. It's snap. It's this. You
Mm.
need to go to Google and get the information. I mean, when I went to school, when you went to school, we went to the library. We looked in the
Well,
periodicals.
the library. What is that?
We looked through an Encyclopedia Britannica. What the hell is that? Now it's just because it's at your fingertips. I mean, this device is unbelievable.
Yeah. I
I
mean, it's
mean,
good and bad.
right, but it's just truly
But,
unbelievable.
but anyway, Max, I just want to remind people that you are listening to the Many Shades of Green.
Right.
It's a little different than our normal show, and
Well,
now
this is
we're not zooming in from our Zoom. You're zooming in from,
me. I'm
yeah,
zooming in from
the
from
Hudson
from
Valley.
yeah, I'm in the Hudson Valley in New York. And I call it Chappie Land as a joke.
Chappieland.
uh or the Qua. Like my puppy, her name on her AKC papers is Sparkles Valentine Diva Duquois. That's her actual real name on her papers.
I'm sorry, Sparkles was supposed to make her debut here today,
I
wasn't she?
know. Right now she's literally sleeping. I
Because
mean,
I want to see Sparkles, and I want to.
I don't know if I can get her.
Let's see.
Uh, I don't wanna
Okay.
drag this down, but let's see.
Leave her sleep.
Is
Oh,
she
there she
there?
is. Is that her?
Whoops. Whoop. Hold on. I don't know what just
She's,
happened. We're having technical problems
uh,
here.
well, I see you.
Can you see her at
I
all?
see, yeah, I,
I don't know.
I see black fur.
That's fluff. That's fine.
Anyway, we got to do one time a show because I think, I think pet owners or dog owners are a little bit nuts. I'm not a dog owner, so I don't get into that emotional appeal of a dogs is like you do when you talk, and they go, "Oh my God, it's like talking to a baby.
It is.
It's like
This
talking
is
to
my
your daughter."
I think we should do a show that just said, who's the pet?
Yeah.
Are
Or,
we their pet or they our pet? That's what I want to know.
or we should do Max and Sparkles.
Right. The Sparkles half hour radio hour.
Right. But anyway, and to that note, keep warm.
All
Yeah,
right, you too.
and get less off the roof.
Yeah, no, he's not on now, but he's gonna. It's the flat roof. It's not like he's on
Oh,
the.
okay.
But what happens is if we don't do the roof, then the ice damming starts, and then that's a big problem.
All right.
So
Well, be careful.
anyway,
Have them be careful.
I will. All right, you take care. We'll
Okay.
catch you tomorrow.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right, zooming out. Bye.